To ask the Scottish Government what recent discussions it has had with the UK Government regarding Ineos proceeding with the closure of Scotland's only refinery at Grangemouth, in light of the UK Government's reported £600 million loan to the company for a project in Belgium.
Minister Gillian Martin.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I continue to engage very regularly regarding the closure of the refinery and met with the UK Government ministers on this aspect last week. I am disappointed that this loan has been made to Ineos whilst the Chancellor has offered nothing in her speech that would avoid an abrupt and unnecessary closure of the refinery, nor support Grangemouth's transition to play its part in Scotland's green economy in the future. We need the Labour Government to start doing what it said it would before the election and bring forward real investment to save Grangemouth and the jobs, businesses and livelihoods which depend on it.
Regan.
This is a sorry situation, Presiding Officer. Hundreds of highly skilled jobs to be lost, probably forever. No refinery capability in Scotland, which is a top 25 oil-producing nation. The results will, of course, be worse for the environment, as imports have a higher environmental cost. And, Minister, this has been coming for months. We have warned and warned and warned about this. And while the Government is happy to sit around pontificating about a just transition, instead, to everyone else outside here, it looks passive and pointless. Will this latest UK Government betrayal finally push the Scottish Government to urgently use devolved powers creatively?
Acting Cabinet Secretary.
I can assure Regan that I am not sitting around passively at all. I have done nothing since my tenure as Energy Minister, but engage on this with the previous UK Government, with Petro Ineos itself and with the current UK Government. I have engaged in very good faith with the UK Government on our joint efforts to fund work into the future of the site, and I am doing what I can with our enterprise agencies, my officials and other partners in the Cabinet to encourage investment in the site. I am also, I have to say, particularly distressed that there was announcements last week from the Chancellor in the UK of sustainable aviation fuel money going to places that are not Grangemouth, when we have invested in a study, both the UK Government and the Scottish Government, in a study which has shown that Grangemouth refinery is ripe to be transformed into a sustainable aviation hub.
A number of supplementaries. Hope to take all of them. First, Stephen Kerr.
I think the fact of the matter is that both the UK and Scottish governments have failed to make any decisive intervention to support Grangemouth. And people in central Scotland will not be impressed with the blame game that we hear in the chamber today. They want real answers and they want action. So let me ask the Minister some very simple questions that I know she will surely know the answers to. Who is actually writing the Project Willow report? When is it due? Because she must know when it's due. And will Petro Ineos see the report before the UK and Scottish governments see the report?
Acting Cabinet Secretary.
I have answers to all those questions. The Project Willow report has been written by consultants Ernst & Young, who have been brought in to be consultants on this issue, backed by both governments. It will be available by the end of this month. Round about the end of this month, we are ensuring that both governments and Petro Ineos get sight of the full report. But more than that, we are teeing up potential investors to see the report as well. I have been working very hard on this with my colleagues in Scottish Enterprise and SDI. We've had considerable interest in what Project Willow will bring up, and I am feeling hopeful, although I would like to see the refinery continuing. I would like to see Petro Ineos make a different decision, their shareholders make a different decision about the closure of the refinery, so that we can get Project Willow and investors involved in the future of the site. But those are the answers to the questions that he's put to me, and I'm happy to give him any more detail I can.
Thank you, and Richard Leonard.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. Can I remind members of my register of trade union interests? Many people are angry with the Petro Ineos decision, with the way they have gone about it. That redundancy notices have been issued this week, but they are also angry about governmental failure, the failure of both governments. Does the Cabinet Secretary understand this anger? Does she accept that this is not over, that this is not the last word, that the fight to save these jobs carries on?
Cabinet Secretary.
Accept that the fight is not over. The First Minister has written to the Prime Minister. The First Minister has written to Sir Jim Ratcliffe this morning about this very issue. I am continuing to work with partners in the UK Government to ask Petro Ineos to make a different decision on this. We have had almost weekly meetings with them on progress, and we are making sure that they are doing the right thing by their workers, and where they are not, I want those workers to know that I have an open ear to any of the concerns that they have, so that I can put them directly to Petro Ineos.
And Gillian Mackay.
Thanks, Deputy Presiding Officer. It's very clear that the UK Government has abandoned the workers at Grangemouth. The workers are rightly angry that governments have left them to the will of a billionaire who would rather play fantasy football than look after his workers. This has the potential to devastate the town I grew up in, and I'm angry on behalf of all of those workers. And with the greatest of respect to the Cabinet Secretary, anything generated further by Project Willow and others are potentially too far down the road to solve the immediate and urgent issue facing us. I've not yet lost hope that the Scottish Government will meaningfully step in, save these jobs and ensure a sustainable future for the site. But the question for the Cabinet Secretary is, will she now step in on this increasingly urgent situation?
Okay, we've listened to all the other questioners with courtesy. We should do the same for Ms Mackay. Cabinet Secretary.
The Government has already stepped in to get assurances around the redundancy payments for those workers and to get assurances as to the level of compulsory redundancies. I have in front of me, and you'll forgive me if I don't give the detail of this in the chamber because I need to check that it can go into the public domain, that there has actually been a substantial amount of voluntary redundancies asked for. There's also been people that have been redeployed across the site as well. But the fact remains is that it's still our position that we would like to see refining continue to allow the results of Project Willow to bear fruit and to attract investment. But I also say that refinery could be a going concern for anyone out there that wanted to invest in it. But another thing that would make it far more investable would be track status being given by the UK Government to carbon capture and storage would make it eminently more investable than it is right now and may even change the mind of the current owners.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary.